sit down.
Hi, welcome back to another Terranscapes video. One of the reasons why I decided to change the way I'm shooting some videos was actually because of this video. The main problem is that looking at all of that stuff happening on the screen, I shot it as a time lapse, as a screen capture, meant that there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but very jumpy. I'm zooming in and out, and I don't think it actually conveys very well what it is that I've actually been doing. So this is what it looks like if I just play it as it's loaded into Premiere. That's a little ridiculous. So I've decided to distill this into a few key portions of the development process because it's been more than just doing the designing. It's a whole different environment that I've been working in, and organizing that environment has been a bit more of a challenge than I expected. It's been an evolution, and it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge. So originally I started with trying to organize parts, doors, windows, shapes that go within those things. And then I started putting together components, stairs, braces, arches, roofs, dormers. And then I started putting together pieces as items to cast and to build more quickly with. Why not construct whole sections of pieces that then I can use in total en masse? I can use those pieces in the design process. So those kinds of components make up a wall, and then I break that wall down into its constituent parts, window frames, brace outsides, the wall itself, that idea, in order to help me manage all of the different materials, because I don't think anybody's ever done this with laser cutting. I've seen so many laser kit cuts and nobody's doing this. And that made me feel kind of good, actually. What I'm doing is I'm using various materials for all of those various thicknesses for each element to add more depth, more visual interest. Plywood, that's 1/32. This is a mat board. It's 3/64, 1/16 plywood, 3/32 mat board, 1/8 plywood. I need to separate all of those pieces into those individual categories of materials to be cut. Then I have to continue to build that out with all the other components that are going into the building. The rear wall, the side walls. Once I've got all those pieces together, then I can begin to assemble them into the complete structure. So I've made some changes. I've added some trim along the top wall here. I have fixed the railing issue that I mentioned in the previous video. It turns out that the railing is supposed to go all the way up against the building, and instead had it meeting one of the braces that go up along the walls. Well, the brace cuts in a little bit, which would mean it pushed everything out, and that added to the excess that was overhanging. And I had to create a modified brace to go over it. The brace doesn't come all the way down to the post of the railing, so the railing can meet the wall. I spent a lot of time trying to get that right, and I was really disappointed, and it turns out that it was right. And I worked to make some new decorative elements on the flat areas, so I added in some iconography to go over these symbols and a little frame to kind of give a little wraparound of those symbols and make them look more important. I also redesigned these braces and made them a little bit more fluid to fix some other issue, which I won't explain right now. There are so many things that needed touch-ups, I won't even share them all with you. And the dormers were actually a really big problem because not only were they improperly sized on the first round, but they also did not, when I changed their size, they no longer fit properly with all the other components. Underneath here, there's a little sill. It's supposed to be double layered, have a little decorative trim on it, and the sill runs back to meet the slope of the roof. Well, when I shrunk these, that made the sill incredibly short. I had to go in and really think about not only the width of the dormers, but the depth. How far out does that mean this facing meets? What were the actual sizes of the sills themselves? That took a lot of thinking to kind of figure out. And so I felt a little discouraged about how long it took to fix all of these plans. When the test cuts come back, these have been sent off to get cut. And when those test pieces come back, I'm going to be assembling them to make molds from them. So I'm going to finish them up as though they were done, and then I'm going to tack them all together so I can mock up the building, but still have the ability to disassemble it so that I can then actually make production molds from those parts. In order to do that, however, I had to put it all together into a sheet to be cut. So part of my thinking has always been to try to conserve materials. I just have a natural propensity for it. I hate waste. It's an environmentalist background, but it's more of just being type A. So stitching all of these pieces together to maximize their density took longer than it should have. Really worked hard to fill it as densely as I could. The problem with that is that that took hours to do. This is not the only sheet, right? And there's 4 more materials. Some of them don't have too many parts, but some of them do. So that takes time, and that's a waste of my time. This kind of foundation work is yet again another organizational level that I can't believe I'm still improving upon. And I'm not improving upon it because I want to. I'm improving upon it because I have to. I have this sudden array of materials in front of me, and I have to do something with them. Now I've got the format where I want it, and I have the building designed the way I want it. Taking a look at the buildings before and after, I've changed the layout of some of the elements. I fixed these windows. I fixed the trim for these so that it all matches properly. When the trim comes down, the gable trim, because the face of the dormer has moved in, the trim is going to strike the roof. So I had to adjust for that. The dormers were very difficult for me to visualize. I got them now. That's one of those little things to kind of work out. Now the dormer is ready to be slapped onto any other building with a similar slope. I'm still not quite sure if this element is going to stay. I want to see it cut, and I want to see what it looks like. You can see here how adding this trim helps to separate these two elements and gives a nice border to both of them. I feel solid about this, and that's also another milestone. I'm like, that is the building exactly as I envision it. That's the template to move forward from. Oh, I almost forgot. And I have directions on how to put all of this stuff together. I have directions on how to assemble the dormers, what's supposed to do with the railing in case I forget, how to assemble the rear entrance, make sure that I know which part to put on which first, and then it's all set. And the other thing I did this time is I labeled parts. Charlie, who's helping me cutting this, the man is an angel. I'm having him engrave the pieces with this text, and then having those labels, I know what this rectangle of material is for, because when I first took them out of the bag and I had the whole pile on the table, it was like, oh yeah, so that's a rectangle and that's a rectangle and that's a thicker rectangle. So that is what has gone into this phase of the designing. It's the final phase of fiddling. At this point, I've gone down to the smallest level of resolution, literally the smallest level of resolution possible. I can't go smaller. I don't need to go smaller. This round of designing was really important. While I've been surprised along the way, there's nothing else that can come in my way because I don't think you can dive deeper in it than I have. And I'm really excited to see what comes next. I hope you guys will be there with me for the next step. Don't forget, questions and comments down below, always welcome. Hit like if you like this. Hit subscribe if you want to see more of it. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. You're jumping in. If you're new in this video, it's like you've entered a whole new time frame. So you should go back and take a look at some of the older videos to see. And some of the older style will come back, and this is kind of experimental. We're in the experimental range. Hopefully, you'll come back for the next video because you know that I will be back with another Terranscapes video.